Imagine believing the entire universe is free for humanity to explore, only to find it quietly carved up by powerful corporations and governments. We've long been told space is the province of all mankind, but today, that lofty promise rings hollow. In fact, the 1967 Outer Space Treaty declares the cosmos a shared frontier, and a later Moon Agreement even called lunar resources the common heritage of mankind. But those pledges are fading fast. Only 17 nations ever ratified the Moon Agreement, and none of them has even landed on the Moon. In practice, space is being staked out by those with the biggest rockets and the deepest pockets. Nations like the US and Luxembourg are rewriting the rules, passing laws that let private companies mine asteroids and claim space resources. In short, the old treaty meant to keep space open has been quietly undermined. For decades, space was sold as humanity's final frontier. Neil Armstrong's One Giant Leap for Mankind echoed the idea that the Moon, and beyond, belongs to us all. The UN's Outer Space Treaty enshrined this by declaring space the province of all mankind. A follow-up Moon Treaty even proclaimed extraterrestrial resources to be the common heritage of mankind, none of it subject to ownership by any country or company. But behind these ideals lies a crumbling reality. The Moon Treaty is practically dead. Only 17 countries ratified it, and none of the major space powers signed on or has actually been to the Moon. In effect, the dream of a shared cosmos has been replaced by unilateral grabs. The gap between those old laws and today's space boom is growing. Experts warn that current treaties never envisioned private companies with the capacity to exploit space. Indeed, for the first time in human history, private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin have the technological capacity for private space enterprise, including tourism and mining. In response, some nations have simply updated their domestic laws to sidestep the treaty. The U.S. Commercial Space Act of 2015 explicitly grants companies the right to own any asteroid ores they extract. Luxembourg passed a similar space resources law. These measures directly violate the spirit of the original treaties and sparked furious debate at the United Nations. In short, the fair use for all promise of 1967 is being quietly cast aside as countries scramble to favor their own industries. Today, the space race looks less like a Cold War and more like a billionaire brawl. Elon Musk's SpaceX now dominates the skies. It won 28 of the Pentagon's 54 planned launch missions, a $5.9 billion haul for 2025 to 2029, whereas Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin snagged just 7 missions, $2.3 billion. SpaceX is already the world's most active launch operator. Reporters note that Musk, a close Trump ally turned Space Force partner, has wielded enormous influence over U.S. agencies to secure these contracts. In effect, one company's rockets are now bearing America's most sensitive satellites. SpaceX also built a secretive Starshield unit. By 2024, it had quietly landed a $1.8 billion classified contract with the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office to construct hundreds of spy satellites. In other words, a private firm is building America's next-generation orbital surveillance grid. Musk's other megaproject, Starlink, is no mere consumer network either. It's also a potential military communications backbone with over 5,500 satellites already in orbit. Jeff Bezos and other tycoons aren't idling. Amazon's Project Kuiper has permission for over 3,200 satellites to blanket Earth in broadband, and the company is even buying SpaceX rights to launch them. Meanwhile, Blue Origin touts plans for moonlanders and orbital colonies. The result is a privatized land grab among corporate titans. Whoever controls these sky networks controls global communications and data. And beyond communications, these companies openly eye mineral wealth. SpaceX and Blue Origin are the first in history with the capacity for private space enterprise, including tourism and mining. In this gold rush climate, regulations bend to favor them, further eroding the myth of space as a free realm. Hidden wars in orbit. But it isn't just business deals. The final frontier is fast becoming a battlefield. Nations are openly gearing up for space combat. A 2025 Space.com report warns that anti-satellite ASAT weapons have become the new military must-have. U.S. defense leaders now openly claim America needs space-based weaponry, both to deter enemies and to win any future conflict in orbit. Russia, China, and even India have already demonstrated ASAT capabilities, shooting missiles at satellites, to show that they can knock others out of the sky. Analysts warn that attacking satellites is being normalized in military planning. Once fragile orbits are now treated like contested airspace. This threat extends everywhere above us. The US created the Space Force as a new military branch to outcompete our competitors in space. Experts caution that space is now a contested environment in the same way that every other domain is contested. Even civilian satellites can be targets. Commercial internet networks have faced jamming, and China is developing ways to deorbit objects, capabilities that could destroy satellites under the guise of debris cleanup. The lines are blurring daily. Meanwhile, secretive space deals amplify the stakes. As noted, SpaceX's Starshield network alone plans hundreds of US spy satellites. In plain view, SpaceX's Starlink already eclipsed all rivals, approximately 5,500 satellites providing global internet. Behind the scenes, many of those sats can be repurposed for warfare. US officials have admitted Musk's control of Starlink in the Ukraine war, where it kept Ukrainian forces connected, caused tensions, since an individual, not the military, effectively controls a critical piece of the warfighting infrastructure. Every launch of SpySats or broadband dishes tightens corporate hands on our cosmic lifelines. Arguably, the biggest lie is that space minerals are for all mankind. In reality, they're for whoever can grab them first. Governments and companies are already salivating over asteroid mining. An analysis notes that one asteroid, just 1 kilometer wide, could supply Earth's metal needs for decades. Imagine the profits from gold, platinum, or rare earths untaxed and unregulated. This potential has prompted a flurry of new laws. Over 20 countries now have space mining statutes. The US Space Act of 2015 and a similar Luxembourg law explicitly give private miners ownership of whatever they extract. In fact, the US and Luxembourg even signed a 2024 agreement to cooperate on space mining projects. Others, from the UAE to Japan, are drafting their own rules. Meanwhile, AI and autonomous spacecraft are maturing to scout and process asteroids. In short, a cosmic Klondike is emerging. Behind the scenes, these moves are fraying old treaties. Ostensibly, Article 2 of the 1967 treaty bans any claims of sovereignty in space. But supporters of mining point out it never explicitly forbids resource use, only land grabs. This legal gray zone means asteroid miners will go forward under their national licenses, while defenders of the old order grow increasingly alarmed. Without a new global agreement, the scramble for space resources could trigger conflicts we never imagined. We've been told the heavens belong to all of us, yet our laws and our leaders are telling a different story. The 1967 treaty's ideal of a conflict-free common space has ultimately resulted in increasing the likelihood of conflict instead. Across the universe, the powerful are quietly writing a new code: ownership, profit, and national power. When we look up at the stars tonight, it may be wise to remember this truth. The final frontier is no longer free. It may soon be just another battlefield, divided by the mightiest on Earth. The lie we still believe is one that could have very real consequences, and the next giant leap for mankind might have already begun on terms we never agreed to. Is humanity's giant leap destined to end with a cold corporate grab?